Hello, my name is Vincent Fleming, and today I'd like to explain, demonstrate the Easy Eye Rotation system. This system is set up to hopefully make eye rotation easy and fun. So I'm going to demonstrate the parts of it and explain a little bit what is behind it, but the concept here behind this is we're trying to make an eye that is round, that is similar to the way the eyes are in animals. And with this, most eyes, you know, from the taxidermy industry are flat on the back. They're half of a circle. So basically what we're doing is making the eye round with this white attachment that goes onto the back of it. And what we have here is we have an arbor that you only have to purchase one of these, and then we have cutters. These cutters range from 24 millimeter to 38 millimeter, and each one sits into the arbor. And each one fits into this slot snugly, and there's a screw that you screw in. So you can get these from 24 to 38 millimeter. Also, the backs that come with them, they range the same from 24 to 32 millimeter. These eyes here that I've already attached the back to are 32 millimeter eyes for whitetail. That's what we're going to demonstrate on how it works on today. And to explain the eye orbit and stuff on this particular whitetail here, this eye actually would sit in this eye orbit like so, and then it rotates in this orbit. And since I'm holding this skull, something to explain is the eye socket itself, if you see on my finger, it just pretty much goes straight in, if anything in a little bit of a downward angle. But when we actually take the cutting tool and make our socket in our eye, we'll be going straight in, but in a backward angle, not up or down. And the first thing we need to do is we need to take our backs and we need to attach the glass eye to it, or if you're using an acrylic eye, any type of eye will attach to it. And the best way I found is I take a washer, I set the washer down so that I can set this back on it, and my eye back will set up. Then I take the eye itself, I mix up some 5-minute epoxy. I like epoxy the best. It seems like it adheres the eye to the plastic better than, say, super glue. And I just run a bead right around the edge of the eye back, set the eye right on it so it's set perfectly flush, and then I set it on top of the washer until it kicks off. And then once it kicks off, the eye is ready to go, and that's what we have right here. So next we are going to get in and get into the mannequin here itself and show how this works and how simple and fun it is. Okay, now that we've got to our mannequin there, the first thing I like to do is I like to look at the back of the mannequin and make sure it's level on the mounting stand, which it is. And then I like to come into the corners of the eyes and just take a pencil and make a mark right in the crease going to the tear duct. And the reason for that, I can see it so much easier than just looking at the phone. And then I'm going to take a level there and set on the bridge of the nose and move up and look over the top of the level to make sure that my eyes are level and the mannequin's level, which it is. And then the only two things with this system that you have to really get right is the location of the hole we're going to drill and the depth. The depth is the main one. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come right here and look right in the center of the nose and just make a spot with a pencil, and I'm going to come underneath and look right in the center and make a spot with the pencil. Then I'm going to take a pair of calipers and I'm going to just check the symmetry on the mannequin, and I'm going to measure to the back or the front part of the eye right where the crease starts, and then I'm going to come over to the other side, and that is dead on. And then I'm going to come underneath on this mark, and I'm going to do the same on this side, and then I'm going to come down and it's dead on this side. So symmetry is pretty good on the mannequin. The next thing is there's, you know, many different mannequins on the market, and when the sculptors do these, they put these eyes in, you know, angles off the center of the head. They vary in different degrees, in the same way with cant. That's the tilt of the eye coming out. So we're not going to really worry about the cant, but we are going to worry about the the depth of the eye. If the mannequin you're using and you really like the eye depth, when you put your eye up to it, then you're good. If you want it deeper, you're going to drill a little deeper. If you don't want it as deep, you're going to drill a little bit less. So the next step we're going to do is check for wood blocks. Some mannequins, the wood blocks are just sitting right behind the crust of the foam. If that's the case, this tool will drill through wood, but if the wood block is set in so that when your drill comes up, this being the wood block, and it wants to catch the bottom of the wood like that, it wants to scoot along it, and it will just eat your hole out too large. So wood blocks is a problem. So luckily you won't run into that on most of them. There's just very few. But the way we're going to check the wood block, I'm going to take my pencil here, and I'm going to look right in the center of this eye and make a spot, and then in the center of this eye make a spot. So since we know our symmetry was right, we can come right back here and check these spots again and see that that's dead on. This is dead on. And we can come right here and check and see that it's on here, and it's dead on here also. So those marks are exactly where the location is. So we've got that part done. Now I'm going to take a pin and I'm going to stick in this spot. I'm going straight in, and I'm going in a backward angle, and see when I hit the wood block. And with that pin I didn't hit nothing. And then I'm going to come over here on this side and do the same thing. And I hit that wood block right here. So when that hit that wood block on that side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my fingernail and I'm going to pinch it right up next to the mannequin, pull out, and see that I went this deep before I hit the wood block. So that helps me with my tool. I can take the tip of the pen and touch the back edge of the cutting wheel and see that the point is not going to be nowhere close to hitting the wood block. Now let's just suppose you stuck it in and you hit the wood block this far in, and you stuck it up to the back edge of the cutting tool, and you're going to see that this much will go into the wood block. When you drill, we're going to drill a pilot hole here in a moment, and if that pilot hole hits in the wood and your bit will go into the wood, you'll still be able to drill in. So now that we've got our location and everything done, we're going to take the bit and we're going to drill out our holes for our eyes to sit in. Okay. All right, we're going to do this eye right here, and what I like to do is it works easy for people because this tip you have to push a little bit to get into the foam. So I took just a regular drill bit. It's no larger than the widest point on this. It's actually a little bit smaller, and I'm going to come right here and I'm going to stick it right in the spot that I had. I'm going to get my drill level, and I'm going to go back in that angle, and I'm just going to drill a hole straight in just like that right there. So now we've got a hole for the tip to ride in. And when you put these bits in, these things will tear your hands up. You need to just put the bit in and tighten it up. Don't let it spin and your hand get caught in this. It could eat your hand up. I'm gonna have to step away, and then I've got one thing I need to get here. Okay, now back to the depth of the eye. If you do like the depth that's on the mannequin, what we're going to do is we're going to take this eye and we're going to sit in this mannequin. And if you like where the depth and everything, we're good to go. But I'm going to make me a reference point on how deep this eye actually needs to go. So I'm going to come right here on the side of the cheek, and I'm just going to make a mark. And I'm going to make one in the center on the other side also. Then I'm going to set my eye in. I'm going to have to get in front of it here. And I'm going to take a straight edge, and I'm going to touch this mark on the cheek, and I'm going to touch the brow of the eye, or the brow below the eye socket, and I'm going to move it back and come across the glass eye. And if you look and see, all this touches at the same time. The cheekbone, the brow, and the eye. Now some mannequins you may have a gap in it. Some of them you may hit the eye, but I mean it's very, very, very close. So most all mannequins are pretty similar to this. So this is our gauge, and what you're looking for is 2 points to touch. If If we touch the eye first, hit the eye in this spot, and there was a gap here, just look and see what kind of gap you have so that you can put it back like that when we put that round eye in. So that's how we know where our depth is going to be. And now we're going to drill the hole out. And what we're going to do is, when I actually designed this cutting wheel is exactly the same as the piece of plastic we're putting in. You can see the shape. And basically we're taking out exactly what we're going to put back in. But now the cant is going to mess with you. You'll want to go in at an angle like that and try to make this flat edge match this cant, but we're not going to. We're going to go straight in, so we're actually going to chew out more of the foam at the top than we are at the bottom. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to start drilling and try to get this started. And what you want to do is run your drill as slow as you can. If you just put it in real fast like that, you're just going to make a mess. So I'll hold this right here and I'll start pushing this. And as soon as it starts chewing, I'm just going to let it go right on in. And I'm going to stop about right there just to show you how to check for depth. So now we're going to take our eye, we're going to make sure we've got the front of the eye. And what we want to do when we check for depth, we want to put this eye back in the mannequin exactly the way it was when we checked it the first time. We don't want it turned in or turned back. We want it pretty much set in straight. And I'm going to step back in the front. I mean, I can see this is stuck out way too far, but if we put a straight edge here, you see we're touching the eye, the glass, and the gap that's in between the straight edge and the foam. It should be all touching at the same time. So we're going to cut a little bit more. And it's very critical that you don't go too deep. Part of this system, what's neat about it is you can move the eye after the deer is mounted. Now you can see we're getting closer here. So now we're going to put the straight edge back here. We're touching the mannequin and see we're just barely touching the glass. You see how close that is, the gap. So we'll just bump it just a little bit more. That right there should just about do it. We'll set the eye back in and check our straight edge, and then there we go. It's just a tick more. I'm happy to live with it right there, but we're going to get this one back just exactly right. Okay, there we go. Now it's just all touching at the same time. Now what we've done here is we've made an eye socket for this eye to sit in, and you see how easy the eye rotates in the eye. So now we can go, you know, forward, back, up, down, and it just rotates around perfectly. The idea behind this whole thing is like on this side, this center spot right here does not need to change. As the eye rotates, that center spot, which is the center of this eye, is going to rotate around that same axis. So when we set this back in, it just sets and spins, and the very center stays the same. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to clay this eye in, and I'm going to show you how neat it is to be able to move the eye after it's actually been set. Okay, now we're going to set an eye using the tool, and we're going to grab one right here that has the back already attached to it. And the thing I was pointing out earlier is if we don't want to go too deep, we want to make sure that we can rotate the eye, and you know, when we push on it, we're not pushing into clay or anything like that. If you were to accidentally drill it out too far, just take you some epoxy, mix it up, and you know, smear a thin coat in there, and you can wet the back of this and stick it in and check your depth and get that back, then let the epoxy set up before you actually set your eye. But the thing I like to do first is I'm just going to take a little bit of hide paste, and I'm just going to smear it inside the eye socket. That's all we're going to put in the eye socket itself. I didn't get no. And we're going to take a little roll of clay, and I'm going to get the front of the eye, and I'm just going to set this eye in the eye socket, and I'm going to take this little roll of clay and place right up underneath it to keep the eye locked in, because I don't want it to fall out on the floor. Now what I want to do is, you have to decide which way you're going to want the eyes rotated. With this one here, I'm going to make the deer looking out, so I'm going to roll it out where I can see wide in the front. And now we've got to get the cant back in the eye, so that means we're going to pull the top down a little bit. And I'm going to take a flashlight here and stand on the side and look at the pupil. And I can see that it's not level, so we want to get the pupil level. So I'm going to take this light, and I'm going to take this level here, and I'm going to keep turning that up till I get it level from the side. That looks pretty good. Now when I square up and look at the deer straight on, with the cant coming out in the eye and the pupil being level, that's going to kick the front of the pupil up. So that tells me that I've got pretty good cant in it, like where I like it. This is an individual thing, but I mean, when I look at reference photos and things, that's what I see. So that's what we're going to do. So I've got my eye sitting pretty close to where I want it. It's level. The cant is pretty good where I like it. The pupil setting where I like it. So now we're going to do some clay work. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some clay across the top, just like I did on the bottom, and I want the clay pushed back in all the way around the eye so that there's no void area back around the eye, so that it's sitting in clay all the way around it. And then I'm going to come in and do the bottom eyelid, and we're just going to roll a small piece of clay up like this, and we're going to lay it right across the bottom. Just going to feather this out. We're going to take our wooden tool right here, put some shape into it, and just bring it down into the mannequin. And then we're going to come up to the top, and we're going to do our top eyelid. We'll roll up another small piece of clay, about like so. We're going to lay it right up across the top. And I'm going to take my fingernail here and put some shape into the eye. And then if you'll look straight on here, you sort of can see that the eye's starting to come around and starting to look like an eye. So then the top part of the brow, I use a little clay on this. I may use a little bit more here than I normally do, because I like to use some hide paste to make part of that back. But we're going to put a little bit of this clay back on here to make this top part, just so you can see how the crease lays in the eye. We're going to lay that right across like this. Wet my finger a little bit, and then I'm just going to take and feather that back into the brow. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time here getting all this smooth and everything, because usually when you throw your skin back over, you're going to mess a lot of it up. And I'm going to get my water bottle here. And you'll squirt the eye off where you can see it good. And you can see that we've got a pretty decent looking eye. And one thing I like to do is, I check with the straight edge. You can come in here and sort of check on how much brow and stuff you have on it. What you have to remember is it doesn't have any skin on it. By the time you put skin and hair on it, with hair, it's going to make the eye, the opening smaller. It's going to make everything out further. So if it's a mature deer, you're going to have a bigger brow most of the time. And if it's a younger deer, you even may be a little bug-eyed. But the neatest thing with this eye system is when you're mounting a deer, especially a competition deer, I've been messing with this thing about 4 years now, and when it made me so mad you thought you had your eyes rotated right before I started using this, and once you got your deer mounted and say you had an eye rotated like this, when you got to looking at it, you could see the scleral band in the back, or vice versa, and you couldn't really get it out unless you moved your eyelid around. But with this system, I've got this eye looking to the right, or to the left, so now I'm just going to turn it to make it look to the right. I've changed my mind to decide I need to move it a little bit, so I'll just take my finger, put on the eye, and I'll move it. I'll push this clay back. Get my modeling tool here again. And now, clean the eye back off again. Now if you'll look, you'll see the white in the back of the eye, and we've moved it to the other side. So we've completely changed the direction the deer's looking without changing the depth of the eye at all. It just sat and rotated around that spot we were talking about where the center didn't need to change. And you know, back again, if you want to bring it back out, you can roll it back out, you can roll it up. If you want to roll it down, like the deer's head's raised up and looking down, now you can see the whites with rotation too. The deer's looking to the left and the white showing across the top. Now you may want to change the expression of your eyebrow depending on what the deer's doing, but really this is just to show how easy it is to rotate the eyes and, you know, roll them around and get them the position that you want them in. So that's the Easy Eye rotation system. I hope it makes it easier for rotating your eyes in your deer or whatever animal you want to you're going to be mounting, because like I say, it goes from 24 millimeter to 38 millimeter. And one more thing I want to show you, just so you'll see. Here's a mountain lion. It has the 24 millimeter eye. It has the back on it. And I have already drilled these sockets out in this, but you can see how easy it is just to move the eyes back and forth. And they'll spin in the socket just like the deer or anything else does. So, and if anybody's interested in purchasing one of these things, you can purchase it through McKenzie's Taxidermy Supply, or you can actually purchase it through me. So I'll have some information on that at the end of this video. So, thank you.